Welcome back to MMAOddsBreaker. Today we have Charmaine Tweet getting ready to do battle here coming up in Prestige FC1, October 24th. Charmaine's in a little bit of a weird position historically with your fight game. You fought both Christine Justino as well as Ronda Rousey, but it's so far apart between the two, you really can't make a comparison, right? I mean, Ronda, you fought your first pro fight back in 2011, and then Justine, you just fought back in February of 2015. So 4 years is a huge difference in the fight game, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody grows a lot, month to month, let alone year to year. However, I still kind of stand behind my position on it after having been punched by Justino that Christine would take the fight for sure. She would win it hands down.
The thing is, too, I have mixed feelings on this one. That yes, if the fight's up at 140 or 145, Justino fights, does very well and beats Ronda. But if the fight comes down to 35, I don't know, unless Justino makes weight 6 or 7 times before that fight, I don't know if she's going to be able to recover enough to be able to battle someone like Ronda who's so comfortable with the weight class. You think, even so, she'll still be able to make the weight, recover enough, and then have enough left over in her tank to battle someone that's as aggressive as Ronda?
Yeah, I think so. That woman's like, I heard somebody recently say man hands. Like, she's physically male strong. I've never been hit that hard in my life. And I don't know, I think 10 more pounds isn't going to make that much of a difference as far as the force coming behind that punch goes.
So, taken away, obviously, it was a loss for you, a TKA loss. But coming away from that, you've got to learn, like you said, everyone in the fight game, especially now, gets better every month. What was the biggest you got? It's the hardest you've ever been hit, but now what do you do with that information? What's happening in this training camp that gets you prepped for this next battle?
This next battle is more of a just, get in there before I'm back on the Invicta cage again. Get any jitters I may have going into the ring out after being dominated so fiercely in my last fight. But I mean, as far as that goes, I really have fought now the baddest woman on the planet, I believe, and it doesn't really matter who's standing across from me at this point. It's not Cyborg. So they could have very, very strong skills, but they're still not the scariest woman out there, right? So
you're talking about jitters, trying to get back in the cage with this one at Prestige real quickly, so you're not, nervous or whatever. Did Cyborg do enough damage to you where she's like making you rethink, like, oh crap, I really got to think about what I'm doing in the cage now?
No.
So
nope, not at all.
Then why the jitters going into Prestige? Like why using this battle to get rid of the jitters?
You know what? That was something my coach had said. If there are jitters, this is great to have it to get it out there. And I don't know, like as far as training for this fight goes, there's no jitters, but you never know how exactly you're going to feel the minute you step in there, right? Like, am I going to freak out because I don't want to get hit in the nose again? I don't think so, but who knows how the mind's gonna turn as soon as that cage door closes. So this is just a good, platform for us to see what's going to happen, how my brain is going to react when I step into the cage again.
Now, talking about, mental aspect of the game, do you do any kind of sports psychology work or any kind of meditation work to help get ready for these fights?
I don't do sports psychology so much, but I have been working with neuro fitness centers where I call it my brain training. So we do neuro tracking, and then there is actually a guided meditation that I go through with them as well. So yeah, we've been working on that mostly more so this summer than these last couple of weeks, because as far as training goes, these last couple of weeks it's gotten kind of insane. But yeah, we've been working on the mental aspect as well.
Now, also, Charmaine, forgive me, you're 38, is that correct?
I am 38, yes.
Okay, so the female game is getting so much better every fight. Every time I watch, it could be week to week. Literally, you see something in Invicta, for example, and then the next week it's Prestige, and you're like, that move was just used in Invicta last week, and the girls are using it now. The women are using it now in the next week in a totally different organization. Like, all of a sudden, the new techniques are coming out, and things are really progressing really quickly, especially in the female division, because now with Ronda, because of Ronda, let's be honest about it, so many more women want to jump in. they're using her as a role model to come through. How much longer do you have at 38 years old? For me, I was like, it's about time for me to start thinking about something else. I have to get done. But you don't seem like to be slowing down at all. You actually seem to be picking up pace a little bit more. Is there a finite timeline for this for you?
You know, I was thinking about this just last week, actually, and I started fighting. Well, I started training to fight when I was 24. So I was late getting into the game. And I kind of put a 44 on as my end game. Like, let's see 20 years of doing this. Let's see if my body can take it for that many more years. And I will go probably till 44. Who knows? Maybe even after, depending on where my career is going and how my body is holding up. Which so far, the most damage I've taken has been a broken metacarpal and my nose. You know, so my body is. Pardon?
Your body's holding up very well then. Like the older athletes with the least amount of earlier injuries in their career, like even if it's like, a high sprained ankle, or something silly, that bothers them much later when they start getting older. Like every injury I had in my 20s fully affected me when I started hitting my mid 30s. It was a big problem trying to get around them. That's great if all you've had is a nose and a metacarpal problem. That's very good. That's excellent work.
Yeah, I mean, I had sprained ankles and stuff like that when I played basketball, but I was so young when that was happening that they, didn't really affect anything. But, when I first started fighting, I was pretty disheartened by the fact that I was only averaging one fight a year. And I was like, come on, I want to fight more. But now when I look back on it, it was really a blessing in disguise because I got a little bit of experience, but I didn't take any damage and any injury. So it really worked out well for me, considering that female MMA has really just started to blow up, and I can still be involved in that.
Yeah, in a big way, especially with Invicta. Now, so what happened with Invicta? They just let you go for this one time to go fight over in Prestige, or is it part of your contract? You have to ask them first, or how does this process work out underneath the Invicta contract?
Yeah, we have to check with them, but they do let all of their girls pretty much. I don't know about like Christine or their champions or anything like that, but I do know that they let most of us fight outside of our contract. Andrea KGB Lee is actually fighting for another organization for their title coming up really quick here. So, they are a large platform for us to perform on, but they can't have every one of us on each card. So in order for us to get the experience that we need, they do let us fight outside of our contract. So I fought Anna Barone last year. I was signed with Invicta still, and they let me out to fight in Montreal. And earlier that year, I was able to fight in BC. So it's a really nice deal we have here, where we can still get more experience and still be allowed in their cage as well.
That's great. It is really good. And of course, I love Shannon. I've known Shannon for years. I love the way that she took her mindset to run Invicta and make it so that everybody, you can't, like you said, you can't fight every single time. They can't have everybody on the card, but you still got to make money. You still need experience. You still have to be out there, and the only way to do that is let you go. So I really enjoy the fact that she does that with the women, because it does help out. And there's not that many places women can fight outside of Invicta and outside of the UFC. Like that's kind of the two main places. Everything else is kind of hunting and pecking and trying to find a fight anywhere. Do you find it difficult in between? Because this is October is this fight, but it's been since February, since your last fight. Is it difficult to find fights outside of Invicta?
Not really, no. Especially in Canada, like there's a couple different organizations that I'm able to fight for here. I'm really hoping to get back out to Cranbrook to fight for those guys again, and Montreal was awesome to be in too. So, I mean, we have those connections there. What's getting a little bit more difficult is there's a lot more women getting signed to Invicta. So we really try when we have these fights outside of the Invicta cage to not do it with another Invicta athlete. For instance, Amanda Bell had wanted to come up and fight me on the Prestige card. And we said, well, no, we were able to fight each other outside of Invicta before because I wasn't actually signed to them yet. So that was a bit of a mistake on my part. I wasn't signed to Invicta when I fought in BC. But so now, if I'm going to fight an Invicta athlete, I want it to be in the Invicta cage. So we really try not to fight their girls outside of Invicta, which makes it a little bit more difficult because so many more of the girls are getting signed there. So, we were looking at Bobby Jo Dalziel, I think is how you say her name, to come and fight me here originally. I think it would have been a really good matchup. But unfortunately, she has a lot of amateur experience and only one pro fight. And even though her one pro fight was against Tamika Brents, the commission here, which is extremely new, like this is their second fight card, they wouldn't sanction that fight. So, that was a bit of a disappointment. I think it would have been a good matchup between she and I. We're approximately the same height. And really, when you look at her amateur record, my amateur record, our total experience is very, very similar. So.
Well, yeah, you are in a tough spot with Invicta then. I didn't realize that you don't fight Invicta athletes outside of Invicta. So that immediately cuts it to less than 50% of the women in your weight class that you can battle against because they're all Invicta. They're all Invicta now.
Invicta or at 145, Bellator, that sort of thing. But I mean, it's just a choice. I'm sure if we asked Shannon, she'd probably be like, maybe. It's hard to say. We haven't actually taken it to her. It's just a choice we made on our own because we don't want to put Invicta in that position. So we do our best to make sure that they're non-Invicta athletes when I have a fight outside of there.
Well, I'm glad you got connected with Prestige. It's going to be a great fight. I'm happy that you get some more time in the cage. I think 3 times a year is about enough, for someone to go through training camps and still have enough time to heal between training camps, between whatever happens. So I'm happy you're back in there. I can't wait to watch this fight. I'll get the feed. I hope from Scott Zier later on online. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to do this too. It's the rubber match of the Tweet Barone trilogy, so it's going to be interesting.
This is going to be fun. I can't wait to see how this one kind of pulls itself together. Thanks so much for taking some time to come on here with us today. Have a good rest of your training camp. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for having me.